Do you know how Coca-Cola is made? Here's how Coca-Cola is really made from syrup to bottle. Part 2 will be out soon. Make sure to stay tuned for more updates. Step no. 1. Creating the syrup. The first step in making Coke is creating the secret syrup that gives it that special flavor and addictive qualities. This syrup contains sugar, caffeine, phosphoric acid, caramel color, and natural flavors. Now, we all know about the sugar and caffeine, but what are these natural flavors, and where do they come from? Well, one of the main ingredients of Coca-Cola is a natural flavor called citrate. Citrate is an acid found in citrus fruits, such as oranges, lemons, and limes. It gives Coca-Cola its signature tartness, and is also responsible for the drink's fizziness. But this is just one of many natural flavors that make up the Coca-Cola syrup. In fact, there are 9 total flavors. The other 8 are top secret, and only a handful of people know what they are. However, some believe that these flavors come from vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, orange peel, lemon peel, coriander, neroli, and cassia. These natural flavors give Coca-Cola its unique taste and set it apart from other colas. The syrup is created by combining all of these ingredients in giant copper kettles. The exact recipe is unknown, but it is said to include over 70 different ingredients. The syrup is then filtered and pumped into giant storage tanks. The tanks are kept at a constant temperature of 68 degrees Fahrenheit. 2. Ensure that the syrup remains fresh and flavorful. Step no. 2. Adding carbon dioxide. Now that the syrup is ready, it's time to add carbon dioxide. This is what gives the drink its signature fizz. Carbon dioxide is added to the syrup under high pressure, which causes the liquid to become supersaturated with carbon dioxide. When the pressure is released, the carbon dioxide comes out of solution, creating those fun bubbles we all love. But did you know that the amount of carbon dioxide used in a can of Coke is enough to fill a party balloon? That's because the fizziness of a soda is actually caused by the pressure inside the can. When you open a can of Coke, the pressure is released, and the carbon dioxide comes out of solution, creating those fun bubbles. Step number 3. Mixing in the water. Now it's time to mix the syrup with water to create the finished product. The ratio of syrup to water varies depending on the type of Coca-Cola being produced. For example, the syrup for Diet Coke is slightly different than the syrup for regular Coca-Cola. Once the syrup and water are combined, the mixture is filtered to remove any impurities, and then pumped into the next stage of production. Step number 4. Filling the bottles. Now that the Coke is ready, it's time to fill the bottles. This is done by using a machine called a filler. The Coke is pumped into the filler, which then doses the correct amount of Coke into each bottle. The bottles are then sealed and capped. The sealed bottles are then labeled with the Coca-Cola logo and barcode. The labeling machine uses hot glue to attach the labels to the bottles.
Ow.
The bottles are then placed on the conveyor belt and sent to the next stage of production. Step number 5. Adding the caffeine. Before the bottles go out to be packaged, they're given a little extra kick of caffeine. This is done by adding caffeine powder to the bottles. The powder is added using a special machine that measures out the correct amount of caffeine for each bottle. Once the caffeine has been added, the bottles are sealed and ready to be packaged. Step number 6. Packaging. Once the bottles have been filled, capped, and labeled, they're packaged for shipping. This is done by placing the bottles in boxes. The boxes are then sealed and shipped to stores all around the world. Step number 7. Enjoy. And finally, step number 7. Enjoy your refreshing Coca-Cola. But wait, there's more to the story. There's something strange going on behind the scenes that no one is supposed to know about. You see, Coca-Cola is more than just a drink. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. Like any business, Coca-Cola is always looking for ways to cut costs and increase profits. One way they do this is by changing the recipe of Coca-Cola. Over the years, Coca-Cola has changed the recipe of their drinks several times. They've removed ingredients, changed the ratios of ingredients, and even added new ingredients. And no one is supposed to know about this. It's all done in secret. But why? Well, it's all about money. By changing the recipe, Coca-Cola can save millions of dollars while still producing a drink that tastes just like Coca-Cola. For example, in 2017, Coca-Cola removed one of the ingredients from their recipe, caramel color. Caramel color is a brown dye that gives Coca-Cola its signature color. But it's also expensive. So Coca-Cola replaced it with a cheaper alternative, burnt sugar. The result? A slightly lighter colored Coca-Cola that cost them millions of dollars less to produce. But this isn't the only secret change Coca-Cola has made to their recipe. In recent years, they've also changed the amount of sugar in their drinks. A few years ago, Coca-Cola started to add less sugar to their drinks. This is likely in response to the growing health concerns surrounding sugar consumption. But it's also likely an effort to save money. Sugar is an expensive ingredient, so by using less of it, Coca-Cola can save millions of dollars. But these aren't the only changes Coca-Cola has made to their recipe. In recent years, they've also changed the amount of caffeine in their drinks. A few years ago, Coca-Cola started to add less caffeine to their drinks. This is likely in response to the growing health concerns surrounding caffeine consumption. But it's also likely an effort to save money. Caffeine is an expensive ingredient, so by using less of it, Coca-Cola can save millions of dollars. But despite these changes, Coca-Cola is still the same great drink we all know and love. Or is it? You see, Coca-Cola has a secret that they don't want you to know. The truth is, Coca-Cola is not the same as it used to be. It might taste the same, but it's not. The ingredients have changed, the recipe has changed, and even the manufacturing process has changed. But Coca-Cola doesn't want you to know that. They want you to keep buying and drinking their product no matter what they change. That's why they keep their recipes and manufacturing processes a secret. So the next time you reach for a Coke, remember that it's not the same as it used to be. It's cheaper, it's less healthy, and it's not made the same way. But hey, at least it still tastes good, right? Now you need to watch how Pepsi is really made from syrup to can. Or check out how much money you'll make working at these fast food places.